Hello, I'm Brett Knowles from PM Squared, and I'd like to continue the conversation we began last week about the secrets around engaging your employees to drive bottom line results. The seminar that we were at was sponsored by There Be Giants, and There Be Giants would like to continue these conversations that we've had around performance management, engagement, and surviving hypergrowth. It's unusual for me to find experts who have a proven track record in these areas, and pursuing these ideas in Manchester is There Be Giants' mandate. Now, it's important to note that our preliminary thinking about what drives employees is money. And it turns out that that model is true for repetitive operations, things like manufacturing, assembling radios, those sorts of things. But if the job has any cognitive skill set at all, the motivators for employees are quite different. And surveys repeatedly find this sort of information. Number one is about praise and commendation from the manager. Number two, attention from the company leadership. Three, taking on bigger projects. And in fact, it's not till you get to number four that issues related to money pop up. Performance-based cash bonus, increase in pay. So it's important to note that primary motivators are not money. They're intrinsic motivators. Intrinsic motivators are well explained in Daniel Pink's book, Drive. In fact, some of the principles he's identified we've been pursuing with our clients in Silicon Valley. Here's what we know. Intrinsic motivators, those are motivators where the activity is interesting in and of itself versus extrinsic. Extrinsic is where some external force is causing the action. So pay, of course, is an extrinsic force. And the dilemma is you're at the mercy of someone else to receive that extrinsic reward. Intrinsic, on the other hand, comes from within yourself and is much more satisfying, and you have a control over influencing its activities. Now, in the employment world, if we take the intrinsic motivators, it really fits into 5 broad categories that we're going to walk through. First is purpose, the idea that I make a difference to the organization. Second, mastery. I need the opportunity to continually improve my ability to do that activity. Third, progress. I need the ability to see that I am achieving and feel recognized for it. Third, autonomy. Given I have the purpose, mastery, and the ability to track progress, I can now make decisions, choices consistent with this strategy. I can control my life. And then finally, social interaction, the ability to connect with others. Now, this might sound a bit esoteric, but think of your favorite sport or game. You do that sport because you understand the purpose. It's about to score goals, for example. Mastery, you keep on practicing that sport and activities around it to get better at it. Progress, you can see the progress that you and the team is making. Autonomy, while you're out there in the field, within the rules and guidelines and the principles of the game, you have control over what you do. And social interaction, the conversation with your teammates and fans about that activity. So let's talk about the application of this in a little bit more detail and in the business context. So first, purpose. The idea that employees need to know they make a difference. This is all about helping the employee get passion for the cause. And so every employee needs to understand a few things. First off, what is that cause? Secondly, what is their connection to that bigger purpose? Third, how can they make a difference? And what do they need to do to make that difference? So to do this in organizations, it's pretty straightforward. In organizations, what we need to do is be clear. We need to create and communicate what is the cause of that organization. Clearly define the key results we expect associated with that. And finally, letting each person know their specific role. So if you're using a role clarity model like RASCI, responsible, accountable, support, consulted, informed, it allows us to understand how I contribute towards that. Mastery, the idea that your brain can grow, you can improve and get better at this activity. So that getting better to it about it is important to the employees because it allows them to make their job easier. It gives you that psychological rewards from getting better and seeing you're getting better. And, if you can begin doing something that you could not do to begin with, it's even more a stronger motivator for employees. So, how do we do this in organizations? Well, we need to have a focus on training. We need to give the employee the time, the ability to practice, try, and repeat. Third, progress. Progress allows me to see that I'm achieving. So this is largely about helping us make that invisible thing visible, called performance. And to do that, we are effectively paving the way forward. So we're allowing people to see the work they're doing today is going to benefit themselves and the organization sometime in the future. If you take a look at something like training, the problem is I don't know how it contributes to the overall organization, but the organization does. And so by encouraging you to do training, I'm effectively paying it forward. And that in itself is self-rewarding. So in businesses, what does this look like? Well, we do this by providing people with scorecards and dashboards so I can see the work I'm doing and see that it's making progress. And I include things which are leading and non-financial measures. So instead of just waiting till the financials, which are often after the fact, I can begin taking a look at leading indicators, number of new customers, number of complaints solved on first call, etc. And then we show the employee the performance that they've done, their team's done, their department done, and in fact any other dimension that will help them feel good, region, brand, and so forth. Autonomy. Autonomy is about our ability to control our existence, and that's about choice. But you can only make choice if you've given the people the right training and understand what they're supposed to do. But employees have that innate desire to be self-directed and not be told what to do. And the typical management approach takes this away. But if you understand purpose and you have mastery, you get the feedback through progress. This allows you to take that choice, and management give you that control because they have confidence in your abilities. So how do you do this in organizations? Well, it's done by, again, providing clarity around the key results that we expect from you and the timing. We give you clear guidelines on what to do and how to do it, so you understand the rules of the game. And finally, we give you that feedback. And then social interaction, our ability to talk to other people about what's going on. I mean, we're all social to some degree, and we need to connect and care and share, particularly within our peer group, our co-workers, where we also want to be recognized, understood, and understand what's going on. Now, this sounds fairly conceptual. So what I'd now like you to do is to take a look at what we've been able to achieve in codifying this knowledge. Now, this isn't intended to be a software pitch, and I've tried to black out the name of the application. I want us to focus on how these esoteric concepts come into reality in organizations. So overall, we need to be showing progress. We've talked about this, and the concept of a dashboard is where we're going to aim. But what I want to do is show you some of the mechanics that populate this dashboard. So it's a little bit more detail. I'll kind of push you through it. Remember, we identified these 5 intrinsic motivators: purpose, mastery, progress, autonomy, social interaction. Let's walk them through. So purpose, I make a difference. What I should be able to do is understand what I do, what my role is in this activity. In this case, we have a series of headings based on a standard agile team format, and I know what my role is. And I understand what are the key results associated with that role. So if I'm the Scrum Master, I understand what activities I'm supposed to do. Mastery. Mastery is all about tracking progress and seeing that I can improve. So let's track how we're actually performing. What we've also found useful is to ask the employees to forecast where they'll be at the end of the quarter. And this becomes important because as in every game, performance gradually degrades over time. And so you have a bad supplier, you have quality issues, a staff is sick, you're not going to achieve the overall outcome. It's important that the rest of the organization knows this so that they understand that we're going towards a revised goal from what we first thought. Progress I achieve. Again, what I need to do is now track that over time. How's my forecast performance going, and how's my actual performance going? In fact, this green band here is what we call the success zone. Very seldom do you end up at your original target level because of things like vendors and employees and so forth. But I want to make sure that I consistently are in the zone so I can track my progress. Autonomy. So autonomy is all about understanding what I have to do, how I'm progressing, and the priority. And the priority is important because moment to moment, everyone has to make a choice between doing this and doing that. And by understanding the priority, I'll make a choice that's consistent with what the leadership team would like. Then finally, social interaction. What we need is a way that we can have an ongoing conversation about performance. And we tend to do this in two ways. One is within the explicit solution, we allow anyone to tag items they want to discuss. So if you're an employee or you own a process and you see something of concern, you can put a discuss flag on it, and it'll be discussed during the next weekly or monthly meeting. If I'm a manager, I can review performance and identify things we need to talk to as a team, and I can even see these discuss flags and make a determination whether that's a team conversation or a one-on-one. Now, that goes into the broader context of the ongoing performance interactions and conversations. So this, sort of the mechanics behind it, or what we call the detail, aggregates up into that dashboard I showed you before. So we can see how many points we're earning, how many of our objectives are red, amber, and green, how we're doing against other departments, and so forth. So this departmental scorecard allows us to have conversations not at an individual level, but a department level. But this same scorecard we make available, this dashboard rather, we make available at the team level and the employee level. So now as an employee, I get an ongoing scorecard of my performance. And so that looks a bit like this. Here are my objectives and priorities. Here's how we're performing. Here's the status updates I've given it. In fact, I can, behind each one, provide more data about the specific performance that we're seeing, add in status comments and tasks, and so forth. What are the benefits we're seeing? Well, they're significant. We're seeing a significant increase in employee engagement. We're seeing a significant reduction in employee turnover. We're seeing a significant reduction in employee absenteeism. We're seeing an increase in employee productivity, and in public sector organizations, significant improvements in shareholder returns. So all the needles are moving in the right places because we now have an engaged workforce. So I hope this has been useful to you. As I mentioned at the beginning, Therapy Giants is in Manchester and is eager to help you move forward with these. But if you have specific concepts on these concepts or others, please feel free to call or email me. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you for your time.